Hello, and welcome back to 100 Days of Happiness. Today is day 23, and we're going to be doing my bucket list. Now, bucket lists are very private, and everyone has their own thing, so please do not judge my bucket list. I'm sure that yours is just as good, and I would love to see it, but this is mine. So we're going to go through, so this is my bucket list, and we're going to take you through my thinking here. We're going to rank them from S through to F tier. Starting off with the classic mop bucket. This is an easy S tier. I don't think there's anybody among us that wouldn't have a very primal connection with mop buckets. It's the thing that we have this weird attachment to. Whenever you see a mop bucket, you just have to admire it. So that goes in the S tier. Next up is the ice bucket. This is probably a C tier. I don't see much use for ice buckets. I'm not out long enough where I would need to bring ice with me. Inside the house, you can just go to the freezer. So the only case I could see this being used is if you were throwing it at someone and you need more than just what you can carry, in which case a bucket is very handy, but it's not particularly useful in my eyes. Next is an ash bucket. This is going to go in A tier. It's going in A tier because it's very useful. Whenever you're cleaning out the fireplace, you need to get the ash out. The reason it's not S tier is because when you do put it in the ash bucket, it flies everywhere, which I don't particularly enjoy. Next up is the gatherer's bucket. This is going in F tier because if you are a gatherer, you are a beta male. No, it's going there because you have a jumper and you should use it. If you have the hands to pick, you have the jumper to carry. That's just it's basic common sense. Next up is a children's bucket. This is going in B tier. Not because it isn't fun or useful, just because you sort of grow out of it. Not many people have a children's bucket in their adult life. And if you do, you should probably take a closer look at that, examine that psychologically. Next up, we have a farm bucket. You can tell by the where it is in the background there. And I don't have much experience with the farm bucket, but I'm sure that farmers find it very useful. So I'm going to put it in a very non-committal B tier, because I don't know what the pros and cons are as opposed to other buckets. This here is a painter's bucket, and I'm going to put it in A tier. I love the shape, I love how ergonomic it is. I do wish that they were bigger. Usually I don't think painter's buckets are very large, and they're quite expensive, so I think you could get more bang for your buck with, say, a storage bucket, as we'll come to. Next up is a car wash bucket. This is going in D tier. I understand why people would use a car bucket, but now that we have car washes and the much superior like the wands that you go when you go to the gas station, and they have those wand car washes where you do it yourself. This is so much better than using a bucket and sponge. I hate using buckets and sponges. You know when you squeeze the sponge a little bit and it just dribbles down your arm into your jumper that presumably you're using to hold apples earlier? It's not sanitary. You can't be doing that all the time. So I don't like that, and that's why it's going in D tier. It's not in F tier because it's still useful, but not in modern society. You should be a little bit more civilized. Next up is a miniature bucket. I am putting this in A tier because I appreciate smaller things that are used to carry personal items. I don't like the standard packaging that is used to hold, say, cotton buds that is used in this example. So I think the miniature bucket's a good idea. Storage bucket, easy S tier. I do not like storing things in their store packaging. It immediately gets thrown out. So I like to have these around to put them in, but then also you can use them for anything. Really, the storage bucket is the ultimate bucket. You can use that bucket for anything on here. Probably not for the hotter water, like with the mop bucket, because it would, it's gonna probably cause problems depending on the construction. But yeah, it's very versatile. Next up is a water bucket. That's going in B tier. You don't see very many of these, but when you do, they're always kind of filthy and they don't they're not very useful for their intended purpose. And also you can use other buckets, so I don't understand what sort of place they have. Next up is garden bucket. This is F tier because I don't understand what the purpose of this is. They really should just do away with these. They're not particularly useful, especially in light of this one here. This is the planter's bucket. This is an A tier, mostly for aesthetic, but also I just love the build quality and the smell of these. They are phenomenally constructed buckets. So A tier for those. Next up is the tamper evident bucket, I think, or non-tamper bucket, I think they're called. I'm putting this in D tier. I don't understand why you would need this. There's nothing that you would put in a bucket that should go in there that would need evidence against tampering. And I would question anybody that is putting things in a bucket that they need to know if it's been tampered with. You should examine that rather carefully. Not F tier because they are a good size, they're very large, just not very good value. Last up is just the builder's bucket. You might recognize the shape as used in everyone's homes. You've seen it everywhere, but it is technically called a builder's bucket. This is going in A tier. It's slightly less versatile than a storage bucket. You can't put a lid on it, but it's so sturdy and you never encounter any broken buckets like this. I don't know what it is with metal buckets, but they're always rusting and there's bits that just don't look right, and the water buckets always look a bit crusty, but these builder's buckets are built to last. So that's my bucket list. I really hope you enjoyed, and I would love to see your own bucket lists in the comments. Please do link me, and I will see you in the next day of happiness.